Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Turbulent Timeways 3 and how players can get their hands on the Chrono Corsair mount and basically how everything works, which you can take advantage of, the rewards, the campaign and everything else. Now Turbulent Timeways actually started last week. The event is up for 7 weeks in total, and will basically continue right up until the first week of August. Every week of the event, a new expansion is chosen in which time walking dungeons will get a bonus. Whilst doing random time walking dungeons, you will obtain a buff, which we'll talk about just now, as well as also weekly quests for time walking rewards such as gear and other benefits, and time walking quests are all renewed every week, so there's plenty of incentive to run time walking. The main reward and why you should do it, and we'll cover some of the other rewards, but the main reward is to obtain the Chrono Corsair mount. To do this, you have to obtain the Mastery of the Turbulent Timeways 3 achievement. This will require you to maintain the Mastery of Timeways buff for 5 weeks in total. Now, it's a 7-week long event, and this is already the second week. So if you're watching this video, you basically need to do this every week going forward. The Chrono Corsair mount is a pretty cool mount. It's an adaptation of the Timeways dragon, which is a drop dragon from time walking dungeons. Now, obtaining the Mastery of Timeways buff is pretty straightforward. For every single random time walking dungeon that you do, you will obtain a stack of a buff called Knowledge of the Timeways. This buff will give you a 5% increase to experience when killing monsters or completing quests. As you do more time walking dungeon completions while this buff is active, it will add more stacks, slowly building up. When you've done 4 dungeons with the buff active, it will convert into the Mastery of Timeways buff, which is a 30% overall boost to experience gain from killing monsters and completing quests. Not only that, but the buff will last for up to 2 hours, which makes it great. Every time you complete a dungeon, it will also refresh the buff. This is why it's super important to make sure that you grab the buff on a character early on. The easiest way to complete and do this event without putting in a ton of work and doing 4 dungeons every single week on a character, although that's not that bad, is basically in the first week, grab the buff on one character, go and get your Mastery of Timeways buff, and then just log out of that character the moment they get the buff and log back in upon reset next week. And then all you have to do is literally do 1 dungeon and it will refresh the buff, which will count for the achievement. So it's actually really straightforward. All you have to do is get the buff once, and then if you log in, you will be able to basically score a bonus refresh. So it's super straightforward, honestly, and I think is very easy to maintain, which is a bonus for players who aren't interested in running a lot of time walking dungeons. But you should consider running a lot of time walking dungeons. There's plenty of reasons why. Firstly, there's a weekly quest that players can get by completing just 5. For max level characters, this is a heroic level piece of gear, which is really cool. For players under that level, you get a cache with gear, but you get bonus EXP and stuff, so it doesn't really matter. Most characters under max level, you're using time walking to level anyway, so the weekly quest is just a byproduct. One of the other benefits is time walking badges and quests. These are refreshing every week because you're getting a new time walking expansion every week. So you get tons of time walking badges from completing the dungeons, as well as also from handing in the quests from them. And then finally, taking advantage of the level boost, a 30% bonus. Although common nowadays, we have quite a few EXP bonus events, and it's still a great time to level. And since so many players are running time walking, it makes it pretty easy access for you. DPS have queues of like 2 minutes on my server. But that's that. That should cover everything you need to know. Let me know if you have any more queries. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care and bye.